appreciate the invite from NCIT to talk to you all today. My name is Adam Ambrogi. I'm Chief of External Affairs for the National League of Women Voters. My background is an election and voting rights attorney and policy person. I got into this after the contested election in Florida in 2000, where 500 some odd votes made a difference between two different presidential candidates. And so I worked within government on election law and policy related to voting. I then moved over to philanthropy for about 8 years, where I was a grant maker related to supporting election administrators, promoting trust in elections, and supporting voting rights in different organizations. And then 2 years ago, I moved over to the League of Women Voters. And I'm so proud in this moment to be part of the great team that is working to inform the public around their voting options, to do nonpartisan voter education, to do voting rights, and ensure that voters that have not had the access to the ballot, as well as the voter registration, can get that access and make sure that they can exercise their vote and have that vote count. So that's a little bit about my background. I'll turn it over to Juliette Boberg, our Director of Corporate and Organizational Partnerships, to give her introduction. And then we'll get into the background of League and how we can figure out how the communities that we work in and with and for can engage in and around elections this year. Juliette?
Thanks, Adam, and thank you, NCIT, for having us today. Great to be here with all of you. As Adam noted, I'm Julia Boberg. I'm the Director of Corporate and Organizational Partnerships at the League of Women Voters National Office. My background is originally in organizing and then worked in social impact directly with civic nonprofits on building capacity, and also directly with some brands like Snapchat and Paramount on building youth voter engagement campaigns around election cycles. My role at the League is focused on building a broader coalition to help do the work that Adam discussed, empower and protect voters in this pivotal election year, and get our much needed nonpartisan voting resources out into the hands of more folks. So excited to be here and talk through how you all can partner with us on doing that. And so excited to be a partner of NCIT this year.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Juliette. So next slide, please. Thank you. A little bit of background of who and what the League is. The League of Women Voters was created. We're a 104-year-old organization this year, and we emerged from a amalgamation of women's rights groups that led to the 19th Amendment. And the 19th Amendment was it was suffragists that promoted what they called a mighty political experiment to ensure that the newly enfranchised women exercise their responsibility as voters, their rights as citizens, and try to gain power for women and women's issues even at an earlier stage. It is also notable that while the 19th Amendment made great strides in improving access and enfranchisement, that both the original League as well as the rights won in 1920 were woefully insufficient, and the League of that moment did not support the right of Black and brown women to get access to the ballot. It is something that the League has recognized as an area of failure and failing, and we are working and have been working on both improving how we serve and stand alongside communities of color, women of color, and how we support leadership, both at our national, state, and local level, of our amazing and dynamic League leaders that are increasingly more younger women and women of color. And so that is a goal that we wanted to say and state directly up front. And it is how the League continues on for another 104 years, is that we represent how communities show up and serve as America. Then and now, as a starting point, the League will never endorse or oppose candidates or parties for public office. We view ourselves as an important part of the election and voting ecosystem. We do take stands on issues. We will say strongly how we believe voting policy should be, that there should be a Voting Rights Act, that there should be a moment to ensure and improve access, that there should be campaign finance laws. But we will never go after a candidate or a party, but we will take public positions on how they stand on the issues of democracy and on the other issues that are important to the league. And as you can imagine, over 104 years, the league has taken positions broadly beyond the non-democracy space. So with that sort of very initial framework, next slide, please. So where does the league show up? So the league shows up as the largest nonpartisan, volunteer-driven, on-the-ground registrant of voters in the United States. In the past, the focus was getting as many people to register to vote, as well as to promote pro-voter policies to register folks to vote, making things easy to vote, online voter registration, automatic voter registration for eligible citizens, and other types of policies and procedures to ensure that there's access to the vote. But how the league shows up in this particular moment is with a targeted and focused effort with an eye towards equity. We want to make sure that voters that are newly eligible citizens that are getting naturalized in facilities across the country make sure that the league is there to register folks to vote as soon as they go through the naturalization process and get their papers. And so that's something where I really want to make sure that folks understand that the league has the reputation and the credentials of being a very trusted source for election officials and for the government. And we partner with immigration services and to make sure that when those ceremonies occur, we're ready and to be part of those ceremonies wherever possible. We focus on Title IX high schools, and leagues show up and serve and do voter registration events when people are turning 18, or in some cases when there's pre-registration opportunities for 17-year-olds to get access to the ballot. Leagues will be there and will serve that younger population and make sure that they are aware of their rights and civic information related to the right to vote. And then finally, we really do work on returning citizens. And so when we say returning citizens, we mean people who have paid their debt to society post incarceration, have the right to be able to return and get on the voting rolls, but don't always know the bureaucratic processes of filing the papers and making sure that they can get registered to vote and get the materials that they need to ensure that they have access to the ballot. Those are the three areas that are key deep dives for league: naturalization ceremonies, high schools, and returning citizens. But obviously, leagues do major drives all around the country, any place where we can find folks that are eligible but unregistered to vote. We reach out also and do nonpartisan get out the vote efforts. 27 million voters in 2022, a midterm year, directly through league email, letter writing, postcard writing, public information campaigns. And furthermore, we also we always try to work with government to reach a solution that defends voters. But at times, if we can't get a resolution that actually protects voters, we will sue and litigate against state or localities that we believe are not protecting the right of voters in this space. Just 2 days ago, we won litigation in Ohio, where they passed a law that made it very challenging for voters with disabilities to get access to an aid to help them do a vote by mail ballot. There was a very restrictive law that would make it difficult for people who have different types of disabilities to get access. We sued that state and said that the way that law was written was too tightly written, and it would really impact large numbers of voters with disabilities. And we just on Tuesday, a judge struck down those as applied elements of that law. And so 17 million voters we protected in 2022 through legal action in a whole variety of states. Next slide, please. Who does the league look like currently? It is a predominantly volunteer-driven, volunteer-created organization. C3s and C4 organizations from a legal standpoint, but the overwhelming number, 750 local leagues, are volunteer-run with local boards. They're all over the country. They're in big cities, dense suburbs, and rural areas. And they reflect the environment and sometimes the politics and ideology of some of those areas. We have 50 state leagues plus the District of Columbia, which is trying mightily with our support to become the 51st state in the union. We also have leagues in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The state leagues are ways where our leagues can build relationship in the state capital, can advocate for statewide policies as a way to have the local leagues build up strength to a focal point in each of these states, and allows us at national, of Juliet and myself are a national staff, to be able to quickly reach out, get a sense and a pulse of what's going on in each of the states, and also have methods of communicating down to the local level with a trusted interleague source. And then we have over 500,000 supporters. That means members, it means volunteers and donors across the country that are active, engaged, and are willing to show up and support both voting rights issues, as well as do events such as in the era after the 2020 election, election officials were under threat. And one of the key things that leagues do is we support nonpartisan poll workers, and we also support the work of these local government officials who are election officials. And we wanted in the aftermath of the 2020 election to really be able to show our support for that community. And so how this looks like in action is, I actually attended an event with my Montgomery County, Maryland League, where we showed up to our local election office. We showed up with flowers. We showed up with signs thanking them. We showed up to talk to the election workers and to say how much we appreciated their hard work and their service to the voters in a way that they hopefully felt like they received that love from their community, and it helped them keep going in many ways. And so it shows up in so many ways in so many parts of the country, and we're glad to play a part of that work. Next slide, please. Because of the amazing work of NCIT and your focus, we wanted to look back and give you a little context of how the league has showed up on our non-democracy issues over time. The league was one of the first organizations to address child welfare and maternal health and child health programs, both in state legislatures and Congress. One of the first major national legislative successes was the passage of the National Maternity and Infancy Protection Act in 1921. You'll see in the picture there, child welfare was plank one of the National League of Women Voters on an early stage. And you can see that framework because there had not been an organization that focused on women's issues prior in a coordinated and focused way prior to League. It was one of the key areas that leagues got together, and how leagues focused their attention to support women and children. And so and since then, as the PowerPoint slide references, during the 1980s and 90s, the league really worked hard and promoted the availability and quality of childcare, and adopted a position in support of early childhood education, and has fought for funding for early childhood education, including health elements for that in budgets, both in Congress as well as in state and local areas. Next slide, please. So what are we doing now? This is obviously a big and important election year. Every presidential election year is important, and it feels like the last 3 or 4 have been incredibly intense. But I covered pieces of this earlier. But for under the voter education plank, We really rely on our one-stop shop, vote411.org, of which we're super excited. And Juliet will go into detail later on how to utilize this to partner with NCIT to promote this nonpartisan resource to allow folks to understand how to register to vote, what's on their ballot, get information about who are the candidates and issues that are running, find out how to get help on election day if there's some problem that emerges on election day and problems with getting access to your ballot, as well as the ability, definitely during the election cycle, to get real-time information. Laws are changing, litigation occurs, and so Vote 411 is a dynamic process that's supported by both league national level as well as over 1,500 league administrators across the country to make sure that accurate voter information is updated, as soon as possible. And quite frankly, at times, Vote 411 is updated more in a faster way than some of the local election sites, depending on what's going on with litigation and with different changes in different laws. And so we really try to make sure that it is a complete and accurate and real-time site that allows folks to understand what their rights are and how to get information. Mis and disinformation training. We have a Democracy Truth Project that really works to train both local leagues as well as leaders in the public on how to counter social media disinformation, artificial intelligence that's created to confuse voters. The league was the first organization that sued an outfit in the New Hampshire primary, which you may remember, that issued a false robocall pretending to be the president of the United States, telling voters in New Hampshire that they didn't need to vote and that it wasn't important and they should stay home. It was an AI generated call, and the league moved quickly to sue the individuals who perpetrated that false information under consumer protection laws and voting laws, to disincentivize and make sure that folks know that when you try to suppress the vote, when you try to push voters away from the voting process, we will make sure that you're accountable. And the mis and disinformation training really helps, I think, get folks aware as to how to handle mis and disinformation. We do candidate forums where we invite both parties as well as major third party candidates to the table in the community to try to share a contest of ideas and to give people the ability to compare the two candidates face to face. It is something the league has done for a while. We actually, for a time, supported the national presidential debate system until we believed that the parties were attempting to have too much control over the questions and the conduct of the debates, and so that we stepped back in the early 80s. And then we do election rapid response in all 50 states and DC, along with a lot of other election protection outfits. Second column, voter registration and mobilization. We really try to engage deeply to do voter reg. I touched about the different categories earlier of returning citizens, naturalized citizens, and high schoolers. But we do letter writing campaigns, mail, phone, text. We actually really encourage folks who want to serve the public, be poll workers and reach out and really go to powerthepolls.org /LWV to make sure that you are signing up to be a poll worker on election day and support the election in that process, as well as collaborative community outreach programming via partners. We work with different other orgs in the community, as well as businesses, associations, hobbyist groups, to try to promote voter information. And then advocacy and litigation. And so, as I mentioned before, we have been fighting in litigation, and we also fight in Congress and the state legislatures to promote voting rights, women's voices. We have had a long-standing position on women's right to bodily autonomy and women's health, and we push that issue strongly in Congress as well as courts. And so those are elements that are strong and are part of the league's message. And so, as you can see, we protect a lot of voters. We have a big voice in Congress. Our leadership gets routinely invited to the Hill to speak on and testify on bills that we support and issues that we care about related to elections and democracy. And so with that, I will turn it over to Juliet to really address how NCIT members, partners, and the team can join the effort. And thank you all for your time in this.
Thank you, Adam. So shifting gears a little bit towards what this all means for you, an amazing group of advocates across the country who are advancing our goals towards a more supportive world for infant and toddler health. How can you, knowing that who we elect into office is important in advancing these goals, work with us to increase voter turnout and civic engagement across the country? We can go to the next slide. So this is getting organized for November 5th and beforehand, and every local election across the country starts with you. Make sure that you yourself are ready to vote, registered to vote, have a plan to vote. Utilize Vote 411, which I'll go into to make sure that you have taken the steps you need to get ready to vote, have a plan to vote, and explore the tools so that you know how to help your community utilize it as well. League in Action is a digital organizing tool. It's an app that I'll also go into. That's a really good starting place to engage with League on virtual text banking events and petitions and rallies. So I'll go into that. But getting that downloaded on your own phone is a really important first step. Can sign up for League of Women Voters emails to stay updated on what we're doing and how to plug in. And then get connected with your local league. The next step, once you are ready to vote and have a plan to vote and feel confident in your plan, is going out to your networks and figuring out what they need to get ready to vote and make their voices heard. So utilize Vote 411 to help them check their registration, learn what's on their ballot, make a voting plan. You can integrate Vote 411 into your digital plans as well as print resources. And then think through what events are you hosting where civic programming could be integrated into it. Then the third step is partnering with your local league. And I'll go into this as well, how to find your local league and get connected. But local leagues are doing a bunch of work that you all can sort of co-host with them. You can bring leagues into an event you're hosting to do a voter education or registration table. You can work with them to recruit poll workers and election observers. You can work with them on Get Out the Vote programming. You could co-host a text banking event, a nonpartisan text banking event. Educational events. Our leagues love to come into spaces with partners and do mis and disinformation trainings, training community members on how to identify and combat mis and dis at the local level. Can do Civics 101 trainings or talk through host candidate forums together. So educational events in person are something that our local leagues love to do across the country and would love to work with you all on that. Our ballot guides, and I'll go into this on vote411.org, but we have detailed ballot guides that our local leagues actually populate, draft questions for candidates in their local area and solicit answers and populate them into the guide. So if you're involved in your local league, you can get involved in what kind of issues those ballot guides focus on. And then of course, our advocacy work. We advocate for child and maternal health. So getting involved in your local league can find sort of alignment at the local level on that front. Next slide, please. So a little bit about vote411.org, and I shared the link to NCIT's page in the chat here for you all. Vote 411 is our one-stop shop for all of the election information and tools a voter needs to cast their ballot. It is fully nonpartisan. It includes a voter registration tool, absentee ballot request, polling place lookup, state-specific voting laws and deadlines. My favorite part of Vote 411, and I think the most important feature that we have on it, is this detailed ballot guide. So if you fill in your address on the site and you have an election coming up in the next 4 to 6 weeks it'll populate a detailed guide down to the local level that shows you all of the candidates that are going to be on your ballot. It has questions and answers for each of those candidates, so you know what they stand for, what stance they take on issues. And then it also has information on any ballot measures that are going to be on your guide, what they are, what it means to vote yes, what it means to vote no. And again, this is down to the local level. This is populated by our thousands of league volunteers across the country who are waiting for candidate filing deadlines to pass in their community, then drafting questions for the candidates that are going to be on their ballot based on what they know their community cares about, reaching out to the candidate teams, soliciting answers from them, and then populating the guide. So that is something that we actually need a lot of help on, both crafting the questions, soliciting answers, and pressuring candidates to respond to the questions that the league asks. That's definitely become an increasing issue of late, is just candidates not answering questions for ballot guides. So we've actually been working with partners on some pressure campaigns to get answers. Vote for 1-1 is fully available in Spanish language as well as English. And again, this is the URL that you can go to utilize it yourself. Next slide, please. There's the link and just a little preview of what it looks like. Next slide. So the second tool that the League offers is League in Action that I mentioned earlier. This is our app. It's a digital organizing tool. You do not have to be a League member to engage with it or download it. You can download it on your phone. If you actually go to the next slide, there's a QR code. So I encourage folks to take out their phones and scan this QR code now to check it out. It is an app. If you fill in your address, then you can sign up. Again, do not need to be a League member to engage in this. And your feed will show all of the virtual volunteer opportunities that you can engage in through the League, both at the federal level and the state level. So that'll include virtual text banking events. It'll include virtual rallies. When we host in-person rallies, we always have a virtual element to it. Petitions, actions that we're taking on issues that we care about, and more. So I encourage folks to take a look at this, download the app. It's a really good introduction. Thank you, Adam. Next slide, please. I also really encourage folks to connect with their local league, and I'm going to drop a link in the chat to our league locator. So if you fill in your zip code, it will populate what your local league is, your state and local league is, and how to follow them on social media, how to get in contact with them, how to sign up as a member. I really encourage all of you looking to do get out the vote and civic programming at the local level to contact your local league, get to know them, get to know what they're working on, introduce what you're working on and what you care about, and see where there is alignment and overlap and what you can co-host together. Again, voter registration drives, get out the vote events, voter education on miss and dis, poll worker recruitment, advocacy, and the ballot guide piece and pressure campaigns to get candidates to actually respond to the questions that you're asking them is all really important places where we like to partner at the local level. Next slide. I think that's it. Yeah, so I know Adam had to hop, but would love to open it up to questions if folks have them. And I'm going to just share a couple additional links in the chat. Seems like maybe we covered it all.
If you have any questions or comments, feel free to come off mute or drop them in the chat or raise your hand. We're happy to call on you.
I just tried vote for one and said there was no candidates. What does this mean? From Jenna. So our voter guides don't populate until about 4 to 6 weeks before an election, because our leagues wait until candidate filing deadlines pass before they start the process of asking questions and populating the guide. So I encourage you to return to the page and fill in your address when we're a little bit closer to your election. What can local Head Start programs do in voter registration? I'm not super familiar with Head Start programs, so I can't speak specifically to that, but there's a lot that local programming can do to incorporate voter registration. I encourage you, if there's any in-person events, to partner with your local league and invite them to come in and table. Leagues do voter registration tabling all over the country, and that's really the bread and butter of what we do. So if there's any sort of space for a couple league volunteers to come in, they do all the logistical work for voter registration. They utilize Vote 411, they bring in iPads, they have materials. So they can really cover the legal and logistical aspect of voter registration. And then I also encourage people to integrate the Vote 411 link into any sort of digital programming that you have. There's a voter registration tool on the site that applies to anybody across the country, all of their needs, depending on where they live.
And Edward, you had your hand raised. Do you still have a question?
I raised the question about Head Start. There's a bit of misinformation